I felt so lucky to have started my career as an oncology nurse and, simultaneously working at the theater. It was the perfect balance. I saved a lot of money on therapy. The audiences at night certainly helped me work out whatever emotions I might have had during the day, and vice versa. I would bring tapes to the hospital of the show and show them to the patients that might be having inpatient chemotherapy and everything that they were going through. So maybe for a moment they could forget their problems and laugh. And there was something very therapeutic about it, not only for myself but for the patients. And I had a lot of guardian angels. Well, Second City was the ultimate job for me creatively. It was about teamwork, thinking fast on your feet, being in the moment, topical, and a social consciousness. So that was the ultimate for me. And so working here, I felt like that was the goal. I wouldn't go beyond that. But, simultaneously working as a cancer nurse, one of my patients eventually said to me after I brought the whole troupe to the hospital, we actually would do the show at the hospital sometimes. He said, when are you going to go and pursue this dream of yours? And I said, his name was Rudy. I said, Rudy, I would be too scared to do that, to really pursue it full time and fail and have to come back and explain that I failed, and that's too scary for me. And he said, honey, I'm at the end of my life, and one of the biggest regrets I have is that I feared failure. So he said, take my hand. And I took his hand. He said, look me in the eye. And I looked him in the eye, and he shook my hand. He said, promise me that at some point you'll go to California and you'll fail many times. And he said, but just give it a try. And we shook hands. And shortly after Rudy passed away, Second City came to me and said they were opening a theater in Santa Monica in Los Angeles. So I, kept my promise to Rudy and gave it a try. And I failed many times, but learned through all of it. One of the analogies I often make in my own heart is when I worked in the emergency rooms. It was about all of a sudden something came in and we had to work as a team and we had to think very quickly. Certainly at Second City, nobody's life is at stake, but it was that kind of rush. It was, somebody yells out a suggestion from the audience, and you instantly have to cooperate with each other. And I think that's why the comedy that comes from here and the people that come from here do so well and stay in the social fiber of the comedy of our lives, of my generation especially. One thing my father said to me when I was younger that I didn't quite understand, whenever I was going through a tough time, he said it's the struggle in life that people mostly reminisce about because it turns out to be their best times. And certainly struggling through the years of being at Second City, trying to make ends meet financially, working at the hospital during the day, but being surrounded by people like Richard Kind and Jim Fay and, Chris Farley and Dan Castellaneta. And then you have all the spirits here of Bill Murray and certainly Gilda Radner and Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. That's just, you just feel so honored to walk the halls that they walked, to be on the stage that they were on. There's a real respect and just an emotional reverence for what this theater holds because, the comedy of this theater has been very healing. And I certainly saw that directly as a nurse. I saw the direct effect it has. It's really powerful.